am empowered. I embrace positivity from within. As I am within, so am I without. I'm a master of my imagination, perceptions, emotions, and beliefs. I see, think, feel, and speak positively always. I am powerful beyond measure. I am free to be. I am me. I am original and authentic. I am free and strong spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually.
All right. So quickly, everyone just send me a message. I want to know 3 things that you'd like to learn today. Let me know 3 things that you'd like to learn. 3 things you'd like to learn. Quickly, 3 things you'd like to learn. Fantastic, fantastic. I can read it. Yeah, you like to learn to deal with emotions, relationships. Awesome. How to handle your emotions, managing your emotions. Awesome, awesome. So everybody knows who I am. And today we're talking about emotional mastery. And I'm just going to share my slides. And then I am going to start sharing. Let me just going to, okay. Awesome. Right, if you can see the slide, just send me a message that you can see the slides clearly. If you can see the slides, just send me a message that you can see the slides clearly. See the slides, send me a message that you can see the slides clearly. Fantastic. You can see the slides, you can hear me clearly, and fantastic. I can see your feedback. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to just start. Today we're talking about emotional mastery. And this is a starter course for the next 2 days class. So there's going to be a follow-up 2-day emotional mastery course. And that after that 2-day course, there's going to be 14 days where we're going to handhold you through the process of you developing emotional mastery. And you all know what we're going through at such a time as this. We're going through, what we call a crisis situation. And this crisis situation is being caused by the coronavirus. And everywhere you turn, you hear the coronavirus. Everywhere you turn, you hear death. Everywhere you turn, you hear virus. Everywhere you turn, people are feeling hopeless. People are feeling helpless. Everywhere you turn, on CNN, on BBC, on Sky, you are reading about how many people are dying. And the resultant effect of that is a lot of people are getting worried about their lives and their safety. People are afraid. A lot of people are in panic. A lot of people are anxious. And as a result of that, a lot of people are intelligent. In fact, the World Economic Forum, they say that emotional intelligence is one of the top 10 skills that you need to 1, survive, 2, thrive, and 3, succeed between now and the next 2 years. Let me take that again. If you want to survive, if you want to thrive, and if you want to succeed, emotional intelligence has been recognized by the World Economic Forum as one of the top 10 skills that you need to survive. Down there's a personal dimension. If you lack emotional intelligence, right, in your personal life, you would have frequent arguments, you would have frequent disputes and frequent conflicts. You will be insensitive in your words, in your speech, and in your actions. In fact, you'll be injurious and you'll be dangerous. And the things that you spew out or the things that you do will hurt other people. You'll be a bitter person, you'll be a vindictive person, you'll be a negative person, you'll be a critical person, and you'll be a pessimist. You know how glass is when you contact broken glass. Broken glass can cut you. And that is, the nature of someone that lacks emotional intelligence. In fact, someone that lacks emotional intelligence, They see
No,
the
listen.
glass as half empty. Now you will fail to take responsibility and you will blame other people for your misfortunes. You will fail to take any form of responsibility. You will feel victimized. You will feel stuck, and you will experience repeated cycles of negativity. You will have poor coping skills. You will lash out at people. When you get into a conflict, you will storm out. You will slam the door. You'll be one that punches walls, one that throws things and breaks things, and one that goes through cycles of mood swings. You'd have strained relationships at every point in time in your life, and you lack empathy. If you lack emotional intelligence in your professional life, especially in the workplace, you would constantly feel overwhelmed. You will be worried, you'll be anxious, you'll be stressed, you'll be irritated with your colleagues and your customers, and you will lose control because you will be too overwhelmed with work. You'll be feeling victimized, you'll be feeling underappreciated, you'll feel powerless. You would have displays of uncontrollable anger bursts. You will make rash, split decisions. You will be a poor communicator. You will be less proactive. That is, you would always see problems instead of solutions. You will be poor at managing your own potential and your performance, and especially that of other people. You would lack self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-belief. And you would have a damaged credibility quotient. That is, people are going to lower their expectations of you, and people are going to lower their confidence of you. Then if you're an employer, you would have a high staff turnover. That is, now, what are the behavioral effects of lack of emotional intelligence? You would have constant changes in behavioral patterns. You have constant changes in your eating patterns. At some point, you would eat too much. At some point, you would not have any appetite. There will be changes in your sleep patterns. You would have insomnia sometimes. You'll be sleeping too much sometimes. You would have decreased personal hygiene. With people, you would have the withdrawal syndrome. You don't want to associate with people. You know, you hold offenses. You don't forgive people. You keep malice. You hold grudges. You accept everything. You don't have the assertion to say no. So anything people throw at you, you would take it. And you would expect the best. You would expect the worst from all people. And every conversation that you have will always be about you. And you would not let other people express themselves. Neither would you let other people express their feelings. Now, from all of those things that I've listed, can you see yourself anywhere there? Am I speaking about you? If you can see yourself, if you can hear me talking about you, then and physiological health implications of lack of emotional intelligence: increased anxiety, increased panic and palpitations, phobias, depression, headache and muscle headaches. You feel very lightheaded. You'll be thirsty, hungry, you have cravings, and you may spiral into addictions. Your heart rate will increase. You have elevated blood pressure. Your breathing will be rapid. You would sometimes have difficulty breathing, and you would have chest pains and other forms of pain. Now, can you relate with a bit these emotions? Now, if you lack emotional intelligence, oftentimes you'll be overwhelmed. Oftentimes you will feel discouraged. Oftentimes you will worry. Oftentimes you will feel disappointment. Oftentimes you will feel unworthy. Oftentimes you will feel emotionally numb. Oftentimes you will feel highly irritable. Oftentimes, you'll feel anger and you'll be angry. Oftentimes, you'll feel panic. Sometimes you'll feel unhappy, depressed, anxious, fearful, despondent, resentful, rage, powerless, and despair. Can any one of you relate? How many of these emotions on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, do you relate with? Just type it into the chat room for me. Is it depression? Is it anxiety? Is it powerlessness? Is it despair? Is it fear? Is it rage? Excuse me. Is it resentment? Is it despondency? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it irritation? Is it disappointment? Is it discouraged? Is it worry? Is it overwhelmed? Is it a sense of unworthiness? Just type it into the chat room for me. Now, if you experience over 6 to 7 of these emotions, then this class is definitely for you. You need to develop your emotional intelligence. Why? It is because a lack of emotional intelligence creates stress. Now, let me tell you what stress does to you. The World Health Organization agreed that 80 to 90% of healthcare challenges are preventable, and they account for 90% of healthcare costs on individuals, on and then 95% of these diseases, of these healthcare challenges are stress related, which means that 90, right, are the result of stress. Stress is the result of lack of emotional intelligence. Stress is the result of, wrong beliefs. So it is important for you to develop emotional intelligence, not just because of professional development, not just because of your personal relationships, not just because you want to change your behavior, not just because you want to change your mental and emotional health, you want to change your physical health as well. Because now you know that stress results in a lot of disease. Now, Bruce Lipton put it succinctly. He says 95% of disease is caused by stress, and 100% of stress is caused by wrong beliefs. So I have a question for you, and I want you to answer in the chat room. Are you a slave to your emotions? Or emotions, your slave? Quickly. Are you a slave to your emotions, or are your emotions your slave? That is, are you a master of emotions, or do your emotions master you? Quickly, I want you to send your answer to the chat room. Please send to the chat room. First answer is, are you a slave to your emotions? If yes or no, just type it in. Second question, do your emotions master you? Yes or no? Or are you a master of your emotions? Yes or no? Quickly send it into the chat room for me. Now, there was a research that was done by McKinsey and Company between the 27th and the 29th of March. That is at the peak of the coronavirus pandemic. And they found out these results. Because of lack of emotional intelligence, they realized that between 35 to 42% of people that responded to the research were both depressed and anxious. Let me take that again. Because of stress and lack of emotional intelligence, between the 27th and the 29th of March, at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, McKinsey and Company did a research, and they found out that 35 to 42% of respondents were both anxious and depressed. They found out that 23% of respondents were anxious, but they were not depressed. They found out that 26% of respondents were depressed, but they were not anxious. Wow. Now, when they tested their stress, they realized that between 27 to 34 people, 34% of people had high distress. Between 27 to 34% of people had high distress. 55% of people had moderate distress. And 13 to 20% of people had minimal or no distress. They also found out some very interesting behaviors. They found out that 1 in 4 people reported binge drinking at least once a week. They found out that 1 out of 5 people reported taking prescription drugs for non-medical reasons. They found out that 1 out of 4 people reported using illicit drugs. Now, let's do an analysis of you. Since COVID-19 started and the pandemic and the shutdown and the lockdown, have you felt anxious? Have you felt depressed? Have you felt both anxious and depressed? Have you felt only depressed and have you felt only anxious? I want you to write that in the chat room. Have you felt highly distressed? Have you felt a sense of moderate distress? Have you felt a sense of minimal distress? As a coping mechanism, did you find yourself binge drinking or binge eating, comfort eating? Did you find yourself taking prescription drugs for non-medical reasons? Some people take sleeping medication. Some people take chloroquine. Some people take Panadol. So what prescription drugs have you been taking for non-medical reasons? Now, 1 out of 7 reported taking illicit drugs, or depending on one form of substance or the other. Let's quickly type it into the chat room so that we know, we can relate. Now, the World Health Organization declared that depression is now the 2nd leading killer disease. Depression is an emotion. Depression is now the 2nd leading killer disease and source of disability. And depression will be the world's #1 killer by the year 2030. You see why emotional intelligence is very, very important, because an emotion will be the world's #1 killer in the next 10 years. It is already the world's #2 killer and source of disability. In the next 10 years, an emotion will be the world's #1 killer. How many people have felt fearful in the last 2 months? How many people have been worried for their lives, their jobs, their finances in the last 3 months? How many people have felt anxiety in the last 3 months? Now, there are specific resultant effects of fear, worry, and anxiety. I'm going to speak on cortisol, because when you are fearful, when you worry, when you have heightened states and minimal states of anxiety, right, it is the result of lack of emotional intelligence. Now, cortisol, when it's in excess in your body, it decreases your immunity and opens you up to attack from bacteria and viruses. It decreases and slows down your metabolism. It leads to depression. It leads to high blood pressure and hypertension. It leads to chronic fatigue. It leads to sleep deprivation. It leads to headaches and migraines. You now begin to have a tunnel vision instead of a bird's eye perspective. You have acid reflux diseases. You are very hostile. You get really hungry, and then you develop arthritis. Now, just because of fear, yes. Just because of worry, yes. Just because of anxiety, yes. It is therefore important for your health and your well-being that you develop emotional intelligence. If you don't want to end up with depression, if you don't want to end up with hypertension, if you don't want to end up with acid reflux diseases, if you don't want to end up with arthritis, if you don't want to end up dropping your immunity and open yourself up to all sorts of diseases, It is time for you to develop your emotional intelligence. Anxiety, fear, and worry also creates irritable bowel syndromes, panic attacks, heart palpitation symptoms. And when you see people that sweat too much and have strong body odor, is the result of anxiety, fear, and worry. I want to talk about a few more emotions that cause a few more diseases. Now, if you get angry easily and you are very hostile, you are opening yourself up to hypertension and coronary artery diseases. Yes, you don't blow up, but you repress your anger, but you are still constantly getting angry, but you repress it. You open yourself up to tension, to migraine, to chronic pain, headaches, and fibromyalgia. If you are resentful, if you are bitter, if you are unforgiving, and you harbor a lot of hatred, you open yourself up to autoimmune disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and multiple sclerosis. Wow. Emotions, asking. Just emotions? Yes, just emotions. And so I hope I'm giving you enough leverage, enough reasons to want to develop your emotional intelligence, to want to master your emotions. Because it's not only going to affect your relationships with people, it's not just going to affect your productivity and your performance at work. It's not just going to affect your behavior, it is going to affect your health. And you may be setting yourself up to destruction and to death. Now, furthermore, lack of emotional intelligence creates what we call the amygdala hijack. The amygdala hijack is a phenomenon that ensures that you stop thinking logically. Now, it is defined as an immediate, overwhelming emotional response. Now, that emotional response is disproportionate to the actual stimulus. Someone just told you that, your head is not correct, and then you take a hammer and you smash it on their head. You would agree with me that that overwhelming emotional response is disproportionate to the stimulus. Now, that is because your amygdala has hijacked you and it has shut down your frontal cortex, that is the part of your brain that thinks logically. Now, what happens afterwards is once you have the amygdala hijacked, what you are thinking is either your life is threatened, your position is threatened, or your mental situation or stability is threatened. And that immediately disables your frontal cortex. You stop thinking like a rational person. You stop thinking like a logical person. You become irrational and illogical. Your heart starts to race. Your pulse increases. You become deaf. Your head and your ears flush. Adrenaline and cortisol pumps into your bloodstream and activates the fight, the flight, or the freeze mode. And then you react. And then after, you regret your reaction. Now, I'm sure every one of us has gone through this. Now, the question is, how often does your amygdala hijack you and you make rash decisions, you make irrational decisions, you take illogical actions, you fight people, you run away from situations, or you retreat and recoil into your shell? That is why you need emotional mastery. That is why you need this class, an emotional intelligence masterclass. Now, what is an emotion? An emotion is a subjective conscious experience. Now, note this definition. An emotion is subjective. It is a conscious experience. It is, however, characterized by psychophysiological expressions and biological reactions and mental states. Now, the thing that I want you to take away from this definition is that an emotion is subjective and it is a conscious experience. Hello? I thought people told you that, oh, you don't have control over your emotions. Oh, when your emotions take a hold of you, then, there's nothing you can do. No, on the contrary, an emotion is subjective and an emotion is a conscious experience. Yes, it expresses itself biochemically. Yes, it triggers reactions. Yes, it is a mental state, but it is a subjective conscious experience. Let me explain it to you. Every emotion that you feel is the result of a belief that you have. Every belief you have is the result of a thought that you had. Every thought that you had is the result of something you saw, something you heard, something you remembered, or something you experienced. Let me take it again. Something you hear, something you see, something you remember or recall, or something you experience in real time influences what you think. What you think influences what you believe. What you believe influences how you feel. How you feel influences your decisions. Your decisions influence your actions. And your actions produce the results of your life or the experiences of your life. So if you want to change the experiences of your life, if you do not like the experiences of your life, if you do not like what is happening in your relationships, if you do not like what is happening in your professional life, if you do not like certain behaviors, if you do not like certain diseases or certain physiological expressions or biological expressions that you have to change your emotions. You have to master your emotions. And how do you master your emotions? You master your beliefs, you master your thoughts, and you master your triggers. Now, the thing about emotions is, and the thing about thoughts is that averagely, each and every one of us, we process 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000 thoughts a day. So you have to have the model. You have to have the techniques on how to identify the thoughts that are creating negative beliefs and the negative beliefs that are creating negative emotions before you can change your negative decisions, before you can change your negative actions, before you can change your negative results. Now, I often say that emotion is intel. Your emotions is revealing something to you. And if you do not understand the language of emotions, your emotions will disempower you. However, if you understand the language and the intel of emotions, your emotions will empower you. Emotions are actually supposed to help motivate you. They're supposed to help drive you towards achieving your outcomes. Now, for you to survive, for you to thrive, for you to succeed, and for you to stay healthy, it is very, very important for you to develop your emotional intelligence. Now, there are 5 components that I want to speak to. Your level of self-awareness is a component of emotional intelligence. So if you lack self-awareness, then you lack emotional intelligence. If you lack self-management, you don't have emotional control, you have an inability to adapt, you are inflexible, you are rigid, you're not able to achieve all the things that you set out to achieve, you procrastinate, you have a negative outlook to life, then you need to develop your self-management component. Do you have social awareness? Do you have empathy towards other people? Do you have structural and organizational awareness, environmental awareness, people awareness? You do not. If you lack empathy and passion, you need social awareness. Your relationship management quotient is an aspect of your emotional intelligence. How powerful are you at influencing people? Are you able to help people achieve and attain their aspirations, their dreams, and their goals as a coach or a mentor? Are you able to manage conflicts effectively? Are you able to drive, your team and people around you to perform at their optimum? Are you a positional leader, or are you an inspirational leader? Speaking about empathy, do you see and respect other people's perspective, or it has to be about you? Are you non-judgmental, or are you judgmental? Do you recognize other people's emotions? Do you communicate your emotions and your understanding of emotions and your understanding of other people's emotions effectively? Do you feel with other people? Now, these are the 5 most critical components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management, and empathy. On a scale of 0 to 100, I want you to rate yourself on your level of self-awareness quickly. 0 meaning that you score very low, and 100 meaning that you score very high. Quickly, rate yourself on your self-management. Rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 100 on your self-awareness. Rate yourself on 100 on your relationship management quotient. And rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 100 as it relates to your empathy. Quickly. The next thing is, what is therefore the definition of emotional intelligence? I've told you that it affects your relationships with people, your personal life. It affects your professional manifestation and how your professional and live your professional life. It affects your behavior generally. It affects your health. So what is it? Now, Friedman et al. Defines emotional intelligence, check this out, as a way of recognizing, understanding, and choosing how we think. Remember where emotions start from, how we feel, and how we act. Emotional intelligence is a way of recognizing, understanding, and choosing how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Emotional intelligence shapes how you interact with others and yourself. Emotional intelligence defines how and what you learn. You know that when you stop learning, you start to die. Emotional intelligence allows you to set your priorities, and it determines the majority of your daily actions. Wow. To priorities, to your progress, learning, and growth, to your understanding of yourself and other people, to the way you act, to the way you feel, and to the way you think. If you look at all of these, right, what is outside of it, you will find out that emotional intelligence is everything. Now, research therefore suggests that emotional intelligence is responsible for as much as 85% of the success in our lives, our relationships, and our careers. Let me take that again. Yes, research now suggests that emotional intelligence is responsible for as much as 85% of the success in our lives, in our relationships, and in our careers. Wow. So if you want to succeed in life and you focus on developing your emotional intelligence quotient, you have an 85% chance of succeeding. Let me take that again. If you truly want to succeed in life and you develop your emotional intelligence, you have an 85% chance of succeeding in any chosen field of endeavor, in your life, in your career, in your business, and also in your relationships. Let me let that sink. Therefore, on a scale of 0 to 100, I want you to rate yourself. How emotionally intelligent are you? On a scale of 0 to 100, be truthful with yourself. How emotionally intelligent are you? Quickly. On a scale of 0 to 100, how emotionally intelligent are you? Let me further blow your mind. Warren Buffett, one of the top 3 richest men in the world for the last 40 years. That's right. Warren Buffett, one of the top 3 richest men in the world in the last 4 decades, made this profound statement. If you cannot manage your emotions, you cannot manage your money. Whoops. Do you know there's something they call comfort shopping? There are some people, when they're sad, they go shopping, they go and spend money. There are some people, when they hit a jackpot, they go and spend money. They are excited, they blow all their money. There are some people, when they are depressed, they blow all their money. There are some people, when they are depressed, they go out shopping for chocolates, for cake, for food. What do you do with your emotions and your money? What is that behavior that ties your emotions to your money? Quickly identify 3 of the behaviors you exhibit with money when your emotions are high and when your emotions are low. When some people are in love, their sense, they just shop and buying something, everything for the person that they love, not thinking about tomorrow. I'm not saying don't buy anything for your loved ones, but man, that's another amygdala hijack. When you are feeling euphoric and then you go out spending. So quickly, write down 3 behaviors as it regards to money as it relates to your emotions. Quickly. Now, I'm about to round up. If you truly want to succeed, right, I've created 50 success principles for you. And I'm going to tell you where you're going to find them. Now, I studied the world's most successful people, and I extracted 50 of their secrets. I extracted 50 of their principles. You know, success responds to principles. Success responds to principles. So there are 50 success principles. One is identity. The second is visualization. Emotional intelligence is one of the 50 success principles. Positive thinking, mindfulness, health and well-being. They are very critical success principles. So you'd be able to get my 50 success principles as an e-material, but I'll send you the link to where you can get this from. If you want to succeed in life, it is important for you to identify the principles and to apply and adopt these principles. So on my website, www.catalystng.com, www.thecatalystng.com, you will find this, but I'm going to share with you the link very, very soon. These are 50 success principles of the world's most extraordinary people. Your words frame your world. So what words are you listening to? So for you to succeed, I've also helped you create 12 affirmations. I'm going to share with you where you can find them. If you listen to these affirmations, the testimonials are phenomenal. I will share with you where you can find it. If you do not master your emotions, you cannot therefore master your health. If you do not master your emotions, you cannot master your health. I've shown you evidence. I've shared with you several, empirical data that tells you that your health and well-being is dependent on your emotions, is dependent on your beliefs, is dependent on your stress level. If you therefore do not master your emotions, you cannot master your health. I've said it to people that care to listen, that there is a greater evil that is going to happen after COVID-19, and it's the breakdown of health of people. There's going to be a health hazard, a health epidemic after COVID-19. Why? Because a lot of people have been going through ups and downs of emotions, cycles of emotions. Now, one of the ways that you can balance and boost your physical immunity is to boost your emotional immunity. And I've created a set of 50 life tips that will make you adjust your lifestyle so that you can boost your dose of dose. If you want to address too much cortisol and adrenaline in your system, you have to boost your dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That is, if you want to neutralize the effect of cortisol and adrenaline in your system, you have to increase the dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And I've created 50 tips that will help you boost your dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And this is the link where you can find it. I'm going to share with you in the email that you're going to get after this session. Now, if you go to the website, you would find the 50 secrets of the world's most phenomenal achievers. You will find the 50 tips to boost your dose of dose. Now, these are the 50 tips. If you exercise regularly, if you eat foods that are rich in tyrosine, if you meditate, you will be able to boost your dose of dose. And then there are 50 of those tips. You can reduce your stress. You can overcome your anxiety if you increase your focus with meditation. And so I've also created a meditation CD for you. And if you go to that page on my website, you would find the meditation CD. So I've spoken about affirmation, I've spoken about meditation, I've spoken about the 50 tips to boost your dose of dose, and I've spoken about the 50 tips and the 50 success principles of the world's most phenomenal achievers. What next? To eliminate stress in your life, what do you need to do next to ensure that you survive, to ensure that you thrive, to ensure that you succeed? What do you need to do next to boost and to build? What point did you hear me up to? Boost your dose of dose. What next? Okay. What next, right? Your dose of dose. All right, I'll backtrack it. All right. So I'll just backtrack a bit. All right. So, you want to reduce your stress, you want to overcome anxiety, you want to increase your focus on meditation, download my meditation CD. It's a carefully crafted audio that is meditating. I would through meditating the right way. And so I'm going to share that link with you also. What next? Eliminate stress. You have to build your emotional intelligence. For you to survive, for you to thrive, for you to succeed, you have to boost your emotional intelligence. Now, I'm going to share with you a 14-day journey. You're going to be going on a 14-day journey with me and the entire emotional mastery team at the Olusola Lanre Coaching Academy. We're going to take you on a 14-day journey. Right? And within those 14 days, we're going to help you build your emotional intelligence. Why? Because we care. We want to help you succeed. Now you know without a shadow of a doubt that if you truly want to excel, if you truly want to survive, if you truly want to thrive, if you want to succeed, the key is to build your emotional intelligence. And through 5 steps. Step is you need to register for 14-day emotional mastery. The second test is we will send you the first emotional quotient assessment. This is a 40-item test that you would take to assess your level of emotional intelligence. The third step that you would take is you will join a 2-day mastery course. All of this is through a 14-day journey. And after the class, you get audio materials that are emotional intelligence related and video materials. And so we will be working with you through audio materials, through video materials over the 14 days. And is we're going to allocate, after we're done with all of those, we're going to allocate you with an OLCA certified professional and trained coach. Going to coach you once on your emotional intelligence. Let me take that again. We're going to work with you for 14 days to build your emotional intelligence. We called it the Emotional Mastery Journey. Pay and register. You will take the first test. You will be enrolled into the 2-day emotional mastery class. It will be online and it will be a live class. Then the fourth step is we will give you access to video and audio materials in line with helping you build your emotional intelligence. And then we will allocate a coach to you that will coach you in the area of your emotional intelligence. Now, a lot of people are asking, 14 days, the catalyst, OLCA, what is it going to cost? We're giving you incredible value. So, a lot of people are always asking, is it price versus value? Now, check this out. The value of the one-on-one session with a coach, the value of the 14 days of audio and video material, the value of the 2-day emotional mastery class, the value of the emotional intelligence assessments and the profiling test that you will take is worth 140,000 naira. Now, if you register in the next 48 hours, you will get it for only 14,999. 14,999. I'm sure you cannot believe what you're hearing, right? You will get it for about 10% of the value if you register and pay in the next 48 hours. So right after this class, you will get an email that gives you the link to pay. If you pay in the next 40 hours, you will pay only 10% of that value. That is 14,999, equivalent to about $38. For a 14-day emotional mastery journey with me and my team. Wow, isn't that a steal? That is for 8 hours, and you pay within 5 days. You will get it for 19,999. That is approximately $51. All right. Just send me a message. Where did you hear me up to? Just send me a message. Where did you hear me up to? Send me a message. Where did you hear me up to so that I can continue from there? All right. Send me a message. Where did you hear? All right. You heard me up to 19,999. All right. Some people are already saying that it's a steal. That's right. It's a steal. Fantastic. So, just share with me. Can you hear me? If you can hear me and see my slides, just say yes. If you can hear me, if you can see my slides and you can see me, just say yes. Fantastic. Let me continue. So instead of paying 140,000 14-day emotional mastery journey, if you pay in the next 48 hours, you get it for 10%, 14,999. If you are subscribing from abroad, it's $38. Or the exchange rate on that day that you choose to pay. You pay in the next 5 days is 19,999 instead of 140,000, equivalent to about $51. If you pay after 5 days, you pay 24,999, which is about $64. And if you wait for last minute, guess what? We will charge you 140,000. Hello. You have heard me now. If you wait till last minute, and there are a lot of last minute people. If you wait till the last minute, you will pay 140K to attend. Up until this evening, some people were still asking me whether they can register for this free starter class. So it's in your best interest to quickly, in the next 48 hours, pay $14,999. 5 days, pay $19,999. Subsequent to 5 days, you pay $24,999. And then we will shut it down after a few days after that, and you will pay 140K. 140,000. Is that value? I'm sure that is great value. So finally, I'm going to play a video. Finally, I'm going to play a video for us. And then I would open up the chats. And then you'll be able to ask any questions you want to ask. Right. Thank you, everybody. Wow. Right. So I'd like to just hear from you. How was it? And how many of you are going to register today, tomorrow, immediately in the next 48 hours? Just quickly type it in. And then, if you have one question, I'll take one question. So the first person to drop a question, I will take that question. The first person to drop a question, I will take that question. Now, this is just supposed to be a teaser. This is just supposed to be a taster. So imagine what the 14 days will be like. Imagine what the 14 days will be like. This is just a teaser. This is just a taster. Imagine what the 14 days is going to be like. Awesome, awesome. Any question? It seems like there's couples discount. Are you joking, Ada? Couple. Oh, God. Okay, couples discount is 14,999 times 2. All right. You know, how to handle fear and what you can't control. All right, so I'll take that question. How do you handle fear and what you can't control? Focus. Focus creates blindness. So the reason why you are reacting or responding to fear is because you are focusing on the fear. Focus on something else that is opposite fear. Do you know that fear is faith? It's like a coin, and a coin has two sides. Fear is on one side, faith is on the other side. Do you know that fear is faith? Believing in the negative, and it is a waste of faith. And so fear and faith, if you take that coin, if you imagine that fear is on one side and faith is on the other side, and you take that coin to the market to purchase value, it is inconsequential what side of the coin you present to the person that has the goods. Once you present the coin, you will get what you want. So fear delivers what you fear. Faith delivers what you want. So what is the opposite thing of what you fear? Focus on it and build that. And you will find out that you'll be blind to your fear. So I'm focusing on the screen now, and I can see you and you can see me. If I focus on those paintings behind me, I'm blind to you and I can't see you anymore. And so you don't have that much effect on me. And I can see the painting. And that is what you need to do. Flip the coin. Tell your neighbor, flip the coin. Oh, I've forgotten that this is online. Flip the coin. Make sure that every time the fear comes, ask yourself, what did I just believe? What did I just think? What was the information that I just got? And what is the opposite of what I should believe? What is the opposite of what I should think? If you change your thoughts, if you change your thoughts to the positive opposite of your thoughts that generated the fear belief, then change your belief to the positive opposite of the belief that the thought triggered. Your emotions will change to faith. So it is about substituting the trigger or the fear. I look forward to the 14 days with you. And I believe that those 14 days will be 14 days of a phenomenal and incredible journey. Don't wait for the 5 days. Don't wait for the days after the 5 days. Within the next 48 hours, just go and register. On that note, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that tuned in. We're going to be corresponding with you by email. I'm going to be personally working with you over those 14 days to help you ensure that you survive, to help you ensure that you thrive, to help you ensure that you succeed. We care about you at the Olusola Lanre Coaching Academy, and we care about your success. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in 14 days. God bless you. I love you all.
Bye. And grow daily. I am empowered to be all that I was created to be.